It was just another quiet morning. The world seemed to move like clockwork, unaware of the horrors unfolding behind closed doors. Mothers, the ones entrusted with the sacred duty of nurturing life, had slowly become something unrecognizable, and the twisted truth behind their actions would leave America reeling. These weren't monsters to the world. They were mothers, women who once whispered lullabies, who promised forever, and who carried the heavy weight of love. But somewhere something broke. Faith turned to delusion. Care became control, and love became lethal. This is the story of the darkest secrets hidden in plain sight, where love becomes a weapon and compassion turns to madness. From New York to California, in South Carolina to Utah, these mothers didn't just break their vows to protect. They shattered their children's lives in the most horrific way possible. Welcome to the story of the deadliest mothers in America. Case 1. The year was 1972, a quiet town in Schenectady, New York. It seemed like any other day. Mary Beth Tinning, a nurse's aide, and her husband Joseph seemed like any other family. Their first child, Jennifer, was born in December of 1971. A perfect, healthy baby girl. But just 8 days later, she was gone. Doctors called it meningitis, tragedy. The Tinnings buried their child in the bitter New York winter and continued their lives in grief. Quick flashes of Mary Beth visiting the cemetery, her grief hanging over her like a fog, and the silent whispers in the town. But tragedy kept repeating itself. Jennifer, Joseph Jr., Barbara, Timothy, Nathan, Mary Frances, Jonathan, Michael, and finally Tammy Lynn. 9 children, 9 funerals over 14 years, all dying under the care of one woman. To the outside world, Mary Beth's pain was real, a grieving mother who had lost child after child. But behind the grief, investigators began to see something darker. Patterns began to emerge. Every child died under her care, always when attention began to fade. It wasn't until the death of Tammy Lynn in 1985 that the truth began to surface. Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bowden discovered tiny hemorrhages in the child's eyes. Signs of suffocation, not natural causes. It wasn't just bad luck, it was murder. Each death occurred while Mary Beth was alone with the child. Each funeral followed by an outpouring of sympathy. Neighbors never suspected a thing until one investigator, one pathologist, put the pieces together. In 1987, Mary Beth was charged with second-degree murder for the death of Tammy Lynn. But it wasn't just Tammy Lynn she had killed. Investigators now believe she had taken the lives of all 9 children. But the mystery of why she did it, the truth, remained just out of reach. Guilty of second-degree murder. Mary Beth was sentenced to life in prison, but the truth about her motivations still lingered, clouded by a potential mental illness. Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Could this be the reason she killed her children? To feed her own need for sympathy and attention? The town of Schenectady still remembers the Tinning family, a family whose love turned deadly. To this day, the question remains, did Mary Beth kill all 9 or just one? Did she believe her lies, or was she just acting grief better than anyone else? Case 2. Megan Huntsman. In Pleasant Grove, Utah, 2014, a teenage girl cleaned out her family's garage, unaware that she was about to uncover a secret that had been buried for years. Inside a box labeled baby stuff, she found something that would change everything. A dead newborn baby wrapped in plastic. The teenager's face in shock as she finds the box. The sounds of police sirens approaching. What followed was a discovery that would shatter the quiet town. Megan Huntsman, a 39-year-old mother, had been hiding the bodies of 6 newborns, each one buried in boxes stacked in her garage. Between 1996 and 2006, Megan had given birth to 6 children, each one killed right after birth. She was a woman living a double life, seemingly ordinary, baking cookies, attending school events, all the while hiding the most disturbing secret of all. Megan's motive was rooted in desperation. She was a methamphetamine addict, struggling in a crumbling marriage. She didn't want more children. She was ashamed. So she gave birth in secret, each time alone, and then ended the life before it even began. She confessed to it all. The babies were hers and she had killed them. But it wasn't out of rage or psychosis. It was apathy. It was indifference. A shocking lack of empathy that even seasoned detectives couldn't comprehend. Megan Huntsman was sentenced to life in prison. The house where the babies were hidden was demolished, but the memory remained, haunting the town of Pleasant Grove. How could a mother carry life inside her, only to bury it with her own hands? Case 3. Andrea Yates in Houston, Texas, June 20th, 2001. Andrea Yates called 911, her voice trembling, a mother who had just drowned her 5 children. She calmly told the operator, "I've just drowned my children." What followed would redefine the meaning of motherhood in America. Andrea had once been a devoted mother, homeschooling her children and attending church. But in her mind, faith twisted into delusion. The voices she heard told her that the world was corrupt, and her children's souls needed to be saved. She believed the only way to save them was to kill them. In the end, Andrea drowned her 5 children, one by one, in the bathtub. When police arrived, she was calm, almost detached. To some, she was a monster. To others, she was a woman failed by the system, driven to madness by postpartum psychosis and religious delusions. Andrea's case divided the nation. Was she guilty of murder, or was she a victim of her own mind? In 2002, Andrea was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison. But after a retrial in 2006, Andrea was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed to a mental hospital, where she remains to this day. Case 4. Susan Eubanks. In San Marcos, California, 1997, Susan Eubanks' home appeared like any other suburban house. Inside, she had 4 sons: Brandon, 14, Austin, 7, Bigham, 6, and Matthew, 4. But that night, something snapped inside Susan, and by morning, 4 small coffins would be arranged side by side. Susan had been under incredible stress: a broken relationship, custody battles, financial ruin. That night, after drinking heavily, Susan grabbed a .38 caliber revolver, and one by one, she shot each of her sons in their sleep. The horror of this crime sent shockwaves through the community. At trial, Susan's defense argued depression and intoxication, but the prosecution painted a different picture: a woman who killed out of vengeance, trying to hurt the men who had hurt her by taking what they loved most, their children. Susan Eubanks was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. But in 2023, her sentence was commuted to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Final thoughts from New York to California. These were women who were supposed to protect life, not destroy it. But somewhere, something fractured. Love turned into control. Faith turned into delusion, and care turned deadly. What makes a mother capable of such acts? How does love turn lethal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more true crime cases that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.